Imagine waking up at 3:17 a.m. to the sound of your own voice whispering your deepest secret from the other side of the bedroom door. But you're home alone. Your phone is dead. The lights won't turn on, and the voice knows things no one else could possibly know. This isn't a dream. This is how it starts for thousands of Americans every night in 2025. The calls are coming from inside the house, and they're getting louder. Which part of the country are you watching from right now? Drop a comment below. East Coast, Midwest, West Coast, down south? I want to know where this nightmare is hitting hardest. Story script. The voice on the line. Approximate 4,000 words. Sarah Mitchell had always been the practical one. At 32, she ran a small accounting firm in suburban Columbus, Ohio, paid her mortgage on time, and kept her life organized in color-coded spreadsheets. She didn't believe in ghosts, premonitions, or anything that couldn't be explained with logic and a calculator. That was until the night of October 12, 2025, when the first call came. She was asleep when her landline rang, an ancient beige phone she kept plugged in only because her grandmother had insisted emergencies still use cords. The caller ID read, unknown. The time, 3:17 a.m. She answered groggily. Hello? A pause. Then her own voice answered back, calm, clear, slightly amused. Sarah, you really should check the basement. The box is starting to smell. Click. She sat up, heart hammering. It had been her voice exactly, the same faint Midwestern flatness, the way she said really like really, but she hadn't spoken. She hadn't even thought those words. She checked the caller ID log. Nothing. No record of the call at all. The next morning she laughed it off as a dream fragment bleeding into reality. Stress, she told herself. Tax season prep was brutal. But that night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the phone rang again. This time her voice, was angrier. You didn't check the basement, Sarah. You never listen. That's why he's still down there. She hung up immediately, unplugged the phone, and slept with her bedroom door locked. Sleep didn't last long. Around 4:30, she woke to scratching sounds coming from inside the walls, slow, deliberate, like fingernails dragging across drywall. She told herself it was mice. She called an exterminator the next day. The exterminator found nothing. No droppings, no nests, no entry points. But he did find something odd, a small metal box screwed into the floor joist beneath the basement stairs. It was old, rusted, padlocked. The man refused to touch it. Looks like something someone wanted hidden, he muttered before leaving quickly. Sarah stared at the box for a long time. She didn't open it. Instead, she pushed it behind some Christmas decorations and tried to forget. The calls continued every night at 3:17. Sometimes the voice was sad, pleading with her to let him out. Sometimes it laughed, a low, wet chuckle that made her skin crawl. Once it recited her childhood address in Dayton, her high school boyfriend's middle name, the exact amount in her 401k, details no prank caller could possibly know. She changed the landline number. The calls followed. She bought a new phone. Same thing. She even disconnected the line entirely. That was when the voice started coming from her cell phone. Same time, same number, unknown. The caller ID photo was a grainy picture of her own face, taken in her bedroom while she slept. She stopped sleeping. By the 4th week, Sarah was a ghost of herself, dark circles, trembling hands, living on coffee and paranoia. Her assistant at work begged her to see a doctor. She did. The doctor prescribed anti-anxiety medication and suggested therapy. The pills made her groggy, but the calls still came, now sharper, more insistent. Then came the twist she never saw coming. On November 9th, the voice didn't sound like her anymore. It sounded like her mother, the mother who died of cancer 8 years earlier, voice weak but loving. Sarah, honey, it's me. I need you to come home. Sarah dropped the phone. She hadn't heard that voice in almost a decade. Tears burned her eyes. She redialed frantically, but the line was dead. No call log. Nothing. The next night, it was her mother again. He's angry you left him down there so long. He's hungry. You have to feed him, baby girl. Sarah screamed into the receiver. Stop it. This isn't funny. Whoever you are, stop. A long silence. Then the voice, now her own again, whispered, "I'm not whoever. I'm you, the part you buried, the part that remembers." She drove to Dayton that weekend, to the old house on Maple Street where she'd grown up. The house had been sold twice since her mother's death, but the new owners let her walk through after she explained she just needed closure. The basement looked different. Finished, carpeted bright. No sign of the metal box. She asked about it anyway. The owner, a middle-aged woman named Karen, paled. "We found a box under the stairs when we renovated," she said quietly. "There were things inside, baby clothes, a rattle, a hospital bracelet from 1992, and bones, tiny ones. We called the police. They took everything, said it was an old cold case." Sarah felt the floor drop away. The year she turned 1. She hadn't remembered, or maybe she had never allowed herself to remember. The baby brother who'd been born premature lived 3 days and died. Her mother had never spoken of him. There were no photos, no grave she knew of, just a silence so thick it had its own shape. Back in Columbus, the calls changed. Now the voice was small, childlike. A boy's voice. Her brother's voice, the one she'd never heard. "Sissy, why did you forget me?" She started leaving food in the basement. Plates of mashed potatoes, chicken nuggets, milk. Things a toddler might like. She talked to the dark corner where the box once sat. She apologized. She cried. She begged. The calls stopped for 3 nights. She almost believed it was over. Then, on the 4th night at 3:17, her cell phone lit up. The screen showed a live video feed from inside her house, from inside her basement. The camera panned slowly across the carpeted floor to the corner where she'd left the last plate. The food was gone. In its place sat a small, pale handprint, wet red, fresh. The camera tilted upward. Her own face stared back at her from the screen, eyes wide, mouth open in a silent scream. But it wasn't a recording. It was live. And the face on the screen whispered, "Now you see me. Now you let me in." Sarah dropped the phone and ran upstairs, barricaded herself in the bedroom. She called 911, sobbing incoherently about intruders, voices. Her dead brother. The dispatcher stayed calm, promised help was coming. But when the police arrived 20 minutes later, they found no sign of forced entry. No cameras. No evidence of any call from her phone in the last hour. They searched the basement. Nothing but a clean plate in the corner. One officer lingered, looking at her with something like pity. "Ma'am, we ran your name through the system. There was an incident here in 1992. A baby boy, stillborn. The mother reported the baby had stopped breathing, but the autopsy was inconclusive. Bruising on the neck. The case was never closed. Your name was listed as a witness. Age 1. Sarah stared at him. "I was 1, she whispered. The officer nodded slowly. Sometimes trauma buries things deep. Sometimes they dig themselves back up. They left her with a pamphlet for grief counseling and a promise to drive by later. That night, she didn't wait for 3:17. She went down to the basement at midnight, flashlight shaking in her hand. She sat in the corner and spoke aloud. "I'm sorry. I don't remember what happened. I was just a baby. If you need to punish someone, punish me. Not them. Not Mom." Silence. Then the lights flickered. The temperature plunged. From the shadows, a shape emerged, small, translucent, no more than 3 feet tall. A boy in pale blue pajamas. His eyes were black, endless. He didn't speak. He simply reached out. Sarah felt cold fingers close around her wrist. Not pulling, not hurting, just holding. And in that moment, memories flooded back, not hers, but his. A crib, a blanket pulled too tight, tiny lungs fighting, a toddler's hands pressing down, curious, not understanding. A mother's scream too late. Sarah gasped, "I did it? I killed you." The boy tilted his head, then shook it slowly. No. The pressure eased. The shape began to fade. But before he disappeared completely, he whispered, not in her voice, not in her mother's, not in his own child voice. In a voice that was all of them layered together. You didn't kill me. You just forgot to save me. Now remember and live. He vanished. The phone never rang again. Sarah moved out of the house 3 weeks later. She sold everything, took the money, and drove west, no destination, just away. She started therapy. She started talking about the brother she had buried in silence. She visited his unmarked grave in Dayton after the police quietly reopened the file and gave her the location. She still wakes at 3:17 sometimes, but now she doesn't answer. She just lies there and remembers, and somewhere in the quiet between heartbeats, she hopes he's finally resting. If this story chilled you to the bone and you want more midnight nightmares delivered straight to your feed, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. Don't let the next call be the one you miss. See you in the dark.